I thought I was in love with my girlfriend of 22 but found out just days before her trip that she cheated on me with a guy she claimed needed help. I can't be with you. You're hindering my independence, she said. Now I'm left questioning everything I believed. How could she betray me like this? This is a very long story, but to summarize, my girlfriend, who is 22 years old, was a friend from the office before we started dating. After some time, she initiated a romantic relationship, and the first 2 months were perfect. We enjoyed every aspect of love imaginable. However, 2 months into our relationship, on my birthday, she had my phone and I had hers when we went out on a date. Bored while waiting for her, I decided to use her phone to pass the time. Knowing she had a friend with whom I had playful arguments, I opened her messages to see what she had said. I discovered that she was still communicating with her ex-boyfriend and still had feelings for him. I ended the relationship right then and there, but she pleaded with me, saying those were merely memories, and she insisted that I needed to understand that past experiences do not easily disappear. After discussing it thoroughly, we got back together. I became a secret boyfriend in her life because she did not want our relationship to be known at the office. She only confided in 2 or 3 close friends, which I accepted. However, she often interacted with multiple guys on social media, playfully joking about going on dates and flirting. Half the time, she would delete those conversations, and I hesitated to confront her about it. I was often manipulated into thinking it was all harmless joking. Now I can't even make friends, can I? The real issue arose from one particular guy she was talking to. When I inquired about him, she informed me that he liked her and that she spent time chatting with him. I felt a sense of guilt for his situation since his father was critically ill and he needed support, so I reluctantly allowed her to meet him about 6 months into our relationship. In the following days, she began sending him pictures of everything she was doing, and he would reciprocate. By that time, I had changed jobs, but fortunately, I was only 200 meters away. We ended up meeting every day for about an hour. When I confronted her about this, she once again expressed her sense of obligation to help him due to his difficult circumstances. I clearly stated that this behavior needed to stop, and she complied by merely deleting their chats when we were together. During the last month of our relationship, everything had seemed to improve, reminiscent of the initial phase. She informed me that she would be going on a trip with her female friends that month, and I allowed it, although I reminded her of a trip we had planned together that she would likely cancel. I was completely aware of her tendencies. Following this, she began creating distance between us, though we continued to be physically intimate. Mentally, she seemed uncertain. She frequently told me she was too busy to meet, leading me to pull back in an effort to show her that she was at fault. 2 days before her trip, she broke up with me, claiming that I was overly involved in her life and that it was stifling her independence. I begged her, saying I would do anything to be with her, offering to wait for her. She went on the trip, removed me from her social media accounts, and ceased all communication for several days. My anxiety peaked. I couldn't eat and missed deadlines at work, desperately trying to reach her. When she returned, I visited her office. As a former employee, I contacted some people I knew to inform her of my presence. When she came downstairs, she treated me as though I had done something wrong. Despite knowing she had gone on a trip with her female friends and needed space, I chose to take the high road. I apologized for everything I had done wrong and asked if we could meet occasionally, hoping to rekindle our relationship. 1 month later, I learned from a reliable source that she had not gone on that trip with her friends, but rather with the guy she claimed needed help. He had given her flowers and they had engaged in intimate activities. When I asked her about the flowers, she claimed they were a memento from the trip, and when I confronted her about whom she went with, she continued denying the truth. It became clear that she was sending me fake photographs while using old images I had already seen. When I pointed this out, she started accusing me of being a terrible person and hurled insults that I would not wish upon my worst enemy. After this argument, we blocked each other on all platforms. Fortunately, I knew who the guy was, so I approached him, stating that I had no issues with him or her, but I needed the truth for my closure. He confirmed they had indeed gone on the trip. We then discussed our relationship, and he mentioned that she had portrayed us as just friends, as she did to me. He also assured me that his father was doing fine. I expressed my anger towards him, but acknowledged that the real issue was with her, not him. Now I am devastated, feeling cheated after having begged her to cancel multiple trips for her sake, only for her to betray me in the most heartless way. At least he was honest with me. However, the manner in which he spoke left me uncertain about whether he knew or did not know the extent of her betrayal. The fact that she could treat me like that continues to haunt me. I asked my friends to meet her and inquire about her actions, but both my friends and hers, whom I know, have advised me that she would only lie and would not admit the truth as she has done before. All I want now is to erase every memory of her, despite having thought I would spend my entire life with her. Edit: yes, she did break up with me before going on the trip, but it had been planned long before our breakup. Additionally, she misled me about her companions and still went to meet that guy under the pretense of helping him due to his father's condition. Being the bigger person, I allowed her to go, but now I cannot shake the feeling that my entire relationship was a facade, especially since we were discussing our future literally 3 days before the breakup. Story 2. After years of being called a courting partner, I face betrayal when my girlfriend falsely accuses me of rape. When the truth emerges, my best friend is the real culprit. She breaks up with me, stating, "This is all your fault." 6 years later, I finally find love again, only for her to cheat with another friend. Now I wonder if I'll ever trust again after two devastating heartbreaks. Be me, a straight cisgender male who has never harbored any hatred towards anyone. I stand at 6 feet 6 inches tall, approximately 200 centimeters for the British, and am skinny and athletic. I feel it is selfish to claim that I was attractive, but I certainly was not unattractive. I attended a small high school with fewer than 100 students. I dated a girl when we were both around 14 or 15 years old. She did not want to engage in sexual relations until marriage, and her father was an aggressively religious pastor. However, I liked her and respected her boundaries. I participated in her family gatherings, navigated various uncomfortable situations, and ultimately earned her family's recognition as her actual protective partner. They used the term courting, but whatever. I had strong feelings for her and was willing to endure everything her family put in our path. Fast forward to age 19, approximately 4 years into our relationship. We dated, spent time together, watched movies, had dinner, and engaged in various activities, maybe involving some intimate touching but no intercourse. I have a wide circle of friends, some of whom I do not share details about my dating life. One day, I receive a call from her father who is screaming and accusing me of being a rapist. I can hear my girlfriend crying in the background. It turns out she has missed her period. I am getting emotional and a little teary-eyed right now just writing this, so please forgive me. After missing her period and living in what can be described as an abusive religious household, she was scared. When confronted by her father, she told him that I had raped her, which is the reason she was pregnant. I can never forgive her actions, but from her perspective, she was probably terrified of her father and how he would treat her for having sex outside of marriage. I went to trial and underwent a DNA test. Thank goodness we live in the 21st century. I was cleared of any accusations, but the DNA test pointed to my friend of 15 years. He is definitely not a rapist, and I recalled a story he shared with me 3 or 4 months prior about a random college girl who invited him over while her dad was gone for a study session. I quickly pieced together the situation, and all I could do was testify on his behalf as the rape accusation shifted from me to him in under 2 weeks. It became her word against his, plus his DNA was present, and he was sent to jail, labeled a sex offender, expelled from college, and had his life ruined because he went to my girlfriend's house for a study session and engaged in consensual sex. When I confronted her, she blamed me for everything and ended our relationship. 6 years passed, during which I developed numerous friendships but remained fearful of women and anyone who showed me profound, intimate affection. The pain did not subside. I began attending therapy. I came to terms with love, loss, sadness, and the pursuit of the happiness I deserve. I became a serious, long-term dungeon master for Dungeons & Dragons, having many friends in various groups, some casual and some serious. Finally, I gathered the courage to approach a girl sitting alone at a brewery and told her she was pretty. She returned a similar compliment, and a few days later we began dating. Life was wonderful. I felt a sense of fulfillment that I had not experienced in a long time. We purchased bicycles, rode them together, went on walks. I shared my favorite shows with her, and we played with Legos, enjoying a delightful 4 or 5 months together. One day, I popped the question, not that one, asking her if she was interested in Dungeons & Dragons and if she would like to join me and my friends one day for some fun. I inquired with my group if they were okay with my girlfriend coming to watch or possibly play a game or two, and all 5 of them expressed excitement. She was thrilled, attended 3 or 4 games as an observer, and had an incredible time acting, role-playing, and enjoying the meals I prepared for everyone. The following week, she expressed a desire to play. I was overjoyed. We created a character for her, and she blended seamlessly with the group. I asked her if she wanted to dress up and volunteer at my pirate-themed booth at the local Renaissance fair. She expressed enthusiasm and purchased a costume that matched our theme. The day before the fair, I received a text from my friend of 3 years in the Dungeons & Dragons group, revealing that they had been involved for months, and he felt a modicum of guilt, not an apology, but a guilty conscience and a desire for admonishment. She still attended the event, expecting a free ticket and participation since she had bought the costume, and I obliged. 8 people volunteered at my booth, allowing me to put my mind off the situation and bring joy to the customers as I handed out free water at the event, punctuated with a few lame pirate jokes. After the event, I confronted her with the information. She ended our relationship on the spot and blamed me. I am now unable to open myself up to another person because the pain is so profound that if I experienced it again, I would die, not physically but emotionally. Story 3. My boyfriend's revenge plot against his ex-crush shattered my heart. It's not cheating because we never met. Meanwhile, he ignored my pain while glued to his phone. How did I end up crying during sex with him? Now I'm torn between love and betrayal. What should I do? I am a 21-year-old female who has been in a relationship with my boyfriend, a 22-year-old male, for 3 years now. We began dating during our school days, experiencing various ups and downs, including my parents discovering our relationship, my getting physically abused, and despite all this, I chose to stay with him. We even took a break for 2 to 3 months. Currently, this man is struggling with a serious gambling addiction. He has been in debt for 3 years and has started smoking marijuana and cigarettes excessively to cope, as he claims, while he constantly lies about his financial situation. Just 2 days ago, we decided to meet up, smoke marijuana, and have intimate relations, which is quite typical for us. We went to a hotel, and halfway through smoking a joint, I began asking him about his debts. He attempted to evade the issue. However, after 15 to 20 minutes of my persistent questioning, he finally revealed the actual amount. I was understandably upset because he continuously deceives me about this. Influenced by a movie, I suggested that we keep our phones open during our stay, as I was tired of his dishonesty. I proceeded to examine his phone in front of him, and to my astonishment, I discovered a conversation between him and his former crush. This revelation shattered me because he has conditioned me to believe that no woman in a relationship should maintain friendships with other men, let alone communicate with them. According to him, such behavior is indicative of promiscuity. Regrettably, I devoted my entire self to him, avoiding interactions with other men and not even meeting them. Returning to the chat, it initiated with a message from her. "Why do you keep following and unfollowing me?" To provide some context, while I was reading his messages, he claimed that he intended to inform me about this but never had the courage to do so. Yet he did not delete the conversations because supposedly he wanted to show them to me someday. Clearly, no rational individual would initiate a conversation with that message, indicating he deleted prior texts, another lie. As I continued reading, I noticed he was acting as her male best friend, offering her advice about whom to date and whom to avoid, sharing those cringeworthy male best friend posts, and even requesting to meet up 3 times, which she declined. At that point, everything escalated. I was shouting at him, demanding explanations, and his so-called logical defense was that this woman had rejected him 5 years ago and he sought revenge by asking her to meet and then not showing up, an eye for an eye. However, since she ended up rejecting him 4 additional times, his final message to her was a taunt. "You have rejected me 4 times now, good luck with life. Goodbye." Something similar, and then he blocked her. I began to cry, and for a full 5 minutes, this man did absolutely nothing to comfort me, not even the bare minimum that a decent human being would do, nothing at all. Eventually, he hugged me and confessed that what he did was wrong, but he insisted it did not count as cheating because she never actually met him. He pleaded for forgiveness numerous times, but I remained silent. I felt mentally exhausted, overwhelmed by the situation, so I attempted to sleep, but I could not. He came over and hugged me again, continually asking for my forgiveness. Eventually, I relented and said yes. We began cuddling and getting close, and then he leaned in for a kiss. I refused, thinking, how can I become intimate with the man who just broke my heart? He became angry and asked, "Are you refusing kisses now?" His ego hurt. After some time, I embraced him and initiated a kiss, almost like a signal for intimacy. As he began to penetrate, I started crying again. He thought he had hurt me, but the reality was that it was incredibly messed up. Even then, I was preoccupied with thoughts of how his time and money would be wasted if I stopped him. That was my only reason for allowing it. Once we were engaged, I felt like the biggest fool, so overwhelmed that I could not even differentiate right from wrong. In some twisted way, I believed that engaging in sexual activity might help me forget about everything. I really tried to convince myself that this was all just a terrible dream. Afterward, we grabbed some food and parted ways, barely speaking. Additionally, this man was so engrossed in his phone, consistently watching the match instead of comforting me. This absolutely qualifies as cheating, right? He should have informed me about his actions. For heaven's sake, he did not even do anything for my birthday, while I did everything within my power to make him feel special. Yes, he did not physically meet her, but honestly, what on earth? Now here I am, hopelessly infatuated with him. Yes, I recognize I should end this relationship, but I simply cannot. I have identified all the red flags, yet I am still with this man. I am uncertain about what to do or how to move on from him. To summarize, I have been with my boyfriend for 3 years and he attempted to seek revenge on his former crush because she abandoned him 4 times. He did not communicate anything to me about this. This surely counts as cheating, right? As a side note, his entire social media feed was filled with images of half-naked women. Is this considered the new normal for men? Story 4. At 22, I thought I found my future in a guy who called me beautiful. But when he ghosted and later manipulated me to sleep with him, I fell hard. Red flags turned into explosive fights, and I lost myself trying to make it work. How could I ignore all the warning signs? It was the end of my second semester of nursing school. I was 22 years old, full of hope, and waiting for the day I would meet someone with whom I could truly envision a future. For me, dating was not casual, it was with the intention of marriage. I had promised myself that the next relationship I allowed into my life would be my last. My past relationships had been few but significant. There was my high school love, a sweet yet short-lived romance that fizzled when we went off to college. Then there was a guy I dated for a couple of months before realizing we were simply too different. Like many girls in their 20s, I experienced a toxic situationship that left a more profound mark on me than it should have. But then I met someone new, my third relationship. I had known of him for a while. I had even attended a party at his house once and exchanged a brief conversation with him, but I did not know anything about him. He added me on social media, occasionally liking my posts, though I never thought much of it until he began messaging me. Within the first week, he asked me out on a date, to which I agreed. We went to a local steakhouse. Neither of us was particularly hungry, so we opted for a couple of drinks and an appetizer before he had to leave for a work trip. I really liked him. The conversation flowed effortlessly. When I stepped out of my car, the first thing he said was, "Wow, you look beautiful." His words made me feel giddy, a sensation I had not experienced in years. The following week, while he was away for work, we maintained daily communication, calling, texting, and making plans for the weekend. I could not deny my excitement. Being around him felt different, easy, and comfortable. When the weekend arrived, we planned a trip to the coast with some of his friends. I met him at his house and we loaded his truck for the drive. It was a long ride filled with laughter and conversation. At one point, I had to change clothes in the truck and he could not help but steal glances. I felt a bit embarrassed, but I found it endearing. That night we had dinner with a friend, visited a casino, and ended up at a bar by the bay before heading to the hotel. Sharing a bed for the first time was somewhat awkward, especially with his friends in the same room, but we kissed, and one thing led to another. It felt wild yet exhilarating, and my feelings for him only deepened. The next day we went out on his boat. He could not keep his hands off me, which I found flattering though not unexpected. The day was enjoyable, but the sunburn we both endured was not. We headed home that evening, showered, and spent the night watching movies. It felt like the start of something wonderful until he disappeared on me. The following week, I saw pictures of him with another girl. I was heartbroken. Out of spite, I posted a photo of us together and confronted him. His response was an excuse. "I just need things to cool off. I want us to appear as if we came together naturally, not like I am a jerk." Then he stopped responding altogether. I told myself I would not beg for anyone's love or attention, and I moved on, or so I believed. A couple of weeks later, he came back, apologizing profusely and asking me to come over so we could talk. Against my better judgment, I agreed. That night, he said all the right things. He apologized, expressed how much he liked me, and pleaded for forgiveness. I fell for it. He later confessed that he manipulated me that night to sleep with him, and I fell for that too. From that point on, things progressed rapidly. He desired my constant presence, and I complied. We spent weekends together, went on adventures, and for a while, everything felt perfect. I fell deeply for him. I was happy, genuinely happy for a time. But the warning signs were always there. There were lies, nights he went missing, and moments of explosive anger. He yelled at me for talking to a coworker, for knowing someone he introduced to me, and for things beyond my control. Each time I forgave him. Each time I stayed. The turning point arrived one night when he promised to be home by midnight but did not show up until 6 a.m. He claimed he had fallen asleep at a gas station, but his story did not add up. When he finally fell asleep, I went through his phone and discovered messages he had deleted, messages that confirmed what I already suspected. That was the moment I realized I could not endure it any longer. I had given him everything, my time, my energy, my love. I even extended those gifts to his family, becoming deeply involved and close to them, and he had taken it all for granted. Looking back, I see how much of myself I lost in an attempt to hold on to someone who did not deserve me. I wanted so much for our relationship to succeed that I overlooked all the warning signs, forgave the unforgivable, and stayed far too long. But I have learned from this experience. I now know that I did everything possible to make it work, and the failure of our relationship was not mine to bear. He did not appreciate what he had, and that is on him. Although I will always wish that our story had not ended, I understand it was a saving grace to learn that valuable lesson. Story 5. Caught my boyfriend cheating for the second time. I discovered he'd been lying about family tragedies while juggling 2 relationships. He claimed, "I never wanted to hurt you," yet he shattered my trust. How could I have wasted 3 years on this? Backstory: my ex and I were in a long-distance relationship for about a year and a half. We also did not make it official immediately, which I was not in favor of, but I accepted it anyway. In 2023, I unintentionally discovered that he was cheating. He had recorded videos of himself engaging in sexual acts with other people, including a video of him with a man. One girl was his girlfriend, although they were not officially together, and he expressed his love for her while sharing photos, including ones with his family. I honestly did not trust that side of his family anyway, so naturally they did not care about me. There were many things on Snapchat and he cried and apologized. We broke up, but unfortunately I ended up giving him another chance in 2024. Where he was living was very traumatic. There were many drugs, fighting, and his mother was exploiting him. I honestly assumed he acted the way he did because, for the majority of the time, we were not officially together. In 2024, he significantly proved himself by moving back home, which put an end to the long distance. He began to show up in ways he had not before. It genuinely seemed different the second time around. He showered me with romance, helped me with my dog, and came to family events. There were moments when I questioned him due to the post-traumatic stress disorder from our first relationship, and I thought I was crazy for believing there was something wrong with me. In October 2024, I discovered he was cheating again through his Apple Watch. I learned that it had been happening for a year, starting in September 2023. They met a few months after we broke up, even though he was trying to communicate with me and win me back during that time, and he literally had plans to move back home. This girl informed me that she met the other side of his family, the side I knew and interacted with and with whom I texted and called. He attempted to lie and say their relationship was merely friendly, but I believed her immediately. Looking back, he had lied about many things while he was actually with her. He told me that his brother was in a car crash and was on a ventilator, that his aunt had cancer and they were going to investigate a treatment center, and that his grandfather was undergoing open-heart surgery. All of these falsehoods were unnecessary. He could have simply left me alone. I did not ask him back. I told him he had one chance with me again, and he squandered it. He reached out expressing that he has no one to talk to and offered to help me with various things. He made comments like, "Next year you will be married and have children, and that makes me sad. I was not looking for someone better. You are better than me, and I do not handle that well, and I never wanted to hurt you. I am just a terrible person, it shows." The girl is equally questionable. She viewed my stories months ago and now apparently has a key to his apartment and access to his location because she does not even live there. She believes everything is a lie despite all the screenshots I showed her. Furthermore, she has not blocked me. I informed her that we had been together for 3 years, but I suppose she did not care. He keeps trying to offer me things because he is the type who cares about how people perceive him. I am so disappointed in his family as well. They were all involved, and I felt closer to them than to the other side of his family. He then lied about me, telling this girl that I was dishonest and trying to manipulate her. She sent me the screenshot, and I am honestly grateful she did. He denied it and claimed he never spoke about me to anyone. I told him that I hated him. He burned the bridge for any possibility of being cordial. He is blocked on all platforms. I feel as though I wasted 3 years of my life. Still, there are days when I want to talk to him or update him. Why do men act good only to cause pain? Why did he not just leave me alone? How can someone fabricate stories about their family being sick or injured? How can a family allow someone to hurt women in this way while playing both sides? How can he stay with the person he cheated on me with yet still want to communicate with me and claim to always have my back? I do not recognize this person at all. It is so confusing and frustrating. I found a therapist, lost 15 pounds, and became extremely depressed because of this situation. I am not the type to lose myself in a relationship, and I did not. It was the aftermath that was so unusual that I felt lost.